Oh, please tell me you've got something good for dinner. I'm absolutely starving. I can't take this anymore. This is my 5th late night. I've told him so many times I can't keep working late. And all he keeps doing is going, oh, here's another one, here's another one. I'm done. Did you hear that? That was my stomach rumbling. A Chinese? You got a Chinese? No, you didn't get a Chinese. I just couldn't eat another hot dog from that nasty van outside. I couldn't. Even if you paid me... Oh, actually, if you paid me like $3,000, I probably would have. But a Chinese? What did I do to deserve such greatness in life? Especially from you. I did offer to help, but that's only because you were struggling. And I'm not being funny, but watching you struggle makes me feel like I'm watching my little brother gasp for air. So I just had to. I did not friend zone you. I did not brother zone you. Oh my God. I literally was just trying to make a comparison. I'm not a bitch. Stop. Okay? And if I was a bitch, I am a fabulous bitch that actually is wearing $400 shoes. So before you put me in that bracket, make sure you put me in the good shoes bracket. Okay? Let's eat first and then we can start on the case. How does that sound? Fabulous. Right. Oh, that is so good. I was about to say this. Why doesn't he trust you with the bigger case? I mean, you are his right-hand man, and all of a sudden, he's now giving you this stupid little case. Okay, what is the case? Tell me. No, it isn't. No, I am not. I refuse to believe I have wasted my evening that I could have been at home drinking a great bottle of red to help you with a gardening case. A bloody gardening case. What good is that going to do? Oh. It's for Mrs. Stonaway. But last time I remember, she was done with our firm and she didn't want anything to do with us. Really? So this is her throwing us a bone. And us dogs are so grateful that we finally get to redeem ourselves. To be fair, it wasn't our fault and you weren't even here for it. What happened? Oh, you know, I'm not the type to gossip or anything. No, I can't tell you. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. Right, okay. Are you sure you want to know this? If Mark finds out that it was me that told you, I'll be in a lot of trouble and I might even get fired. Promise? Pinky promise? Okay, so this is what happened. About 3 years ago, Mrs. Stonaway came through the office doors, and at that time, I was just the receptionist. And it was fine, like, you know, she came in with her entourage and whatever. And then she walked into Mark's office, and everything was fine, they got along. And in fact, I mean, she would have brung so much business into the firm. So they took her on, and then they decided that Lisa and her name was Monroe, would take on her cases, her stuff. Sorry, this is so dangerous that I'm telling you. Okay, so Monroe at that time was dating Mark, and they were together for about 3 years. He'd proposed to her, they were about to get married. One day, Monroe asked me a quick favour, and she said, can you just double check that Mrs. Stonaway's car reg is, you know, registered into the system so she doesn't get a ticket? And I said, yeah, that's fine, not a problem. But the registration plate she gave me didn't register on the system, as in it kept saying invalid number plate. Anyways, I just thought, oh my God, it's the rich, they've got private plates. What do I know? I'll just input it in manually. So I did. The next day, she turns up at my desk. No, not Monroe, Mrs. Stonaway. She turned up at my desk. How dare she? And those awful shoes she was wearing, like, seriously? Give me a break. Shh. Sorry, anyways. She was livid. She was so angry. I literally had to start crying in front of her. I was so intimidated. What had happened is, supposedly the number plate I put in was wanted by Interpol. I know, right? You couldn't even make this up. So Interpol got into contact with her and the head of her security and said that these number plates, or, the number plate that you currently have, is being used for money laundering, as in taking money from one state to another state. Yeah, almost like drug trafficking, but it was more serious. Apparently, this is what the girls were telling me, the paralegal girls. It wasn't just $10,000, $15,000. It was $5 million. I know. Okay, calm down. Right, so it was $5 million that was apparently trafficked. I don't even know. So she starts shouting at me, and she said, "How dare you? How dare you? You're nothing but an insolent little girl." Okay, pardon my American accent, but she was so rude to me. "You're never going far in life. You're useless." Like, I'm telling you, she ripped me a new one. Mark heard all the commotion and came out of his office, saw that I was visibly upset. I explained the situation to Mark, and Mark said, "Oh, that's bizarre." And I said to him, Monroe told me not to input it in. But then I was afraid that Mrs. Stonaway would get the ticket, so I just did it anyways, and I'm so sorry that I did that, and it haunts me every day. But actually, it wasn't just some random using those number plates to launder money, to traffic drugs, whatever it was. It was actually Mrs. Stonaway. It was her company. So her company was the umbrella company. And within that company, she was doing all sorts of crimes, like some that are unimaginable. Mark figured it out by opening Monroe's post one day, because they were living together. And it had banking details on it, but nothing else, and it was handwritten. So as I was going to bill Mrs. Stonaway the next day for the services she required, Mark asked me if he could look over it. To be fair, I was doing all this extra work because I didn't want to be a receptionist. I wanted to be a paralegal, so that's why I stepped up to doing all the kind of accountancy stuff that no one really wanted to do. I was working 20 hours a day. I was doing the receptionist role, I was doing the paralegal role, and Mark began to really trust me. It was quite nice because I felt like, for once, I was being listened to, I was being relied upon. It was great. So as Mark was checking my work, I think he took me under his wing a little bit. Mark was super confused. The letter that Monroe got had the same banking details as the banking details I was about to charge Mrs. Stonaway on, right? Does that make sense? So long story short, obviously Mark confronted Monroe. Monroe started crying. She admitted it all. She said, "Look, I was given extra money to launder money through the firm as bonuses, as tips, as investments and so forth." Mark is so good. He's got such a good heart. Instead of handing her to the police or reporting her to the DOJ, he let her go. Slapped her with an injunction, an NDA, you name it, she was silenced. He didn't even remove her non-compete. Well, you know what it's like for partners, they can sort of work around it, but he didn't even do that for her. It was an awful breakup. It was awful in the office as well. He was just a nightmare. Oh yeah, of course Mrs. Stonaway got away with it. She moved to Panama. And that's why I was shocked when you said this silly gardening case was for Mrs. Stonaway. Wait. Why would this be on the forefront of Mark's mind? Unless he was going after her. But how would this gardening case link to her indiscrepancies? Her large indiscrepancies? Wait. Ray, I figured it out. He's going after Mrs. Stonaway. And the only way to go about it is to find out where she or whom she bribed first. This isn't just a small gardening case. This is a bloody case against the state of California. Ray, he's gonna do it. We have to do this. It's the only way to clear our reputation, to clear his reputation. He's helped us so much in the past. It's the least we can do. That bitch is gonna get it. I swear to you, for her to walk up in my face and make me cry, I'm gonna make sure she's behind bars rotting. Okay, I quite like that phrase. It made me sound like a badass. A badass. Stop laughing. A bad girl, you know, those things? Bad bitch. Okay, stop laughing at me now in my accent. Stop. We should do this again sometime, you know? You don't like me, don't be so silly. You needed me. We figured something amazing out. Look, I've been here long enough to know you young lawyers are hungry for power and you want the next office and you're not interested in me. Of course, I'd love to be a lawyer. I've studied hard, but taking tests just make me feel sick, like I want to vom. No, I don't expect you to sit with me and practice. You've got so much to do, and now this whole Mrs. Stonaway and Monroe thing, so I wouldn't want to get in, you know, but thank you. I appreciate it. Look, I'm too fabulous anyways. This firm needs me, and if I went to go and study, God forbid this place will crumble. So, for the sake of you all, and for the sake of this firm, I'm ready to sacrifice my hopes and dreams for you guys. So next time you tell Mark that we figured it out, not you, we did.